race in Florida for the governorship of Florida. Florida is a key state. Many of you don't live in Florida. Florida's a key state. Texas is a key state. To me, they're the two key states if the Republicans have any hope in the future of reelecting the president and future Republican presidents. They're huge states. The second and third most populous states, and the Democrats are dying to take them over. And they've nominated a Bernie Sanders socialist, a leftist, who has overseen a corrupt administration in Tallahassee, to be the next governor of Florida. He's pushing a $15 minimum wage, which we know what that does. Seattle tried it. It was a big failure. He's insisting that Florida law enforcement must not and will not turn over criminals who've served their terms in state prisons to the federal government to be deported. Instead, he would have them released into your neighborhoods. That's the only alternative. And Jake Tapper did a lousy job of explaining that. He didn't explain it at all. He wants Medicare for all, which means eliminate Medicare, eliminate every private insurance program, eliminate employer private insurance programs, eliminate insurance companies altogether, and the federal government will take over health care. Seriously, folks, really? He insists on expanding Medicaid in Florida to 800 to 850,000 more people. He says we're leaving $6 billion on the table with the feds. What he doesn't tell you is 25 cents out of every dollar spent in Florida goes to Medicaid as it is today. And you're not leaving $6 billion on the table because under Obamacare, the first few years of Medicaid, the subsidies were 100%, but they're not always going to be 100%. They could be 50%. They could be 30%. Who knows? But you in Florida will pick up the bill for all of it. The reason you have growth in Florida is because you have people moving to Florida who want to set up businesses or who want to retire there and spend their money there because you don't have a state income tax. That's the main reason. Well, he wants to increase taxes 40% on businesses, and that won't be enough. You watch. He's going to push for a state income tax. We've seen this happen. When Democrats take over these red states, they don't have taxes, income taxes. But here's the thing. The guy's corrupt. You're not allowed to say these things or you're called a racist. Well, you know what? Screw that. Screw that. Records show FBI agents gave Andrew Gillum tickets to Hamilton in 2016. Now, some of you leftists out there, well, what's the big deal? Well, they gave him tickets. Somebody paid for his hotel. And also, there are other issues related to Costa Rica. You've got all kinds of corruption swirling around his administration in Tallahassee, which is why the FBI had undercover FBI agents in his administration. According to the TampaBay.com site, undercover FBI agents paid for Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum's hotel room and his ticket to the Broadway musical Hamilton during a 2016 trip to New York City, according to a bombshell trove of records that raises new questions 2 weeks before the November 6th election for Florida governor. He has been lying about this through his teeth, and I'll get to that in a minute. Among the records released, and CNN and MSNBC won't even touch this story. Neither will any of the big networks. They won't touch it. It's all local news. Because they promote him like they promote this fool Robert Francis, quote-unquote, Beto O'Rourke in Texas. Right, Mr. Zucker? Among the records released this past Tuesday, photos, a video, and dozens of text messages between Gillum, who's the Democrat nominee for governor, former lobbyist Adam Corey, and an undercover FBI agent. They appear to contradict Gillum's explanation for the expenses, which have been made a major issue by his Republican rival, Ron DeSantis. Gillum's campaign has maintained and continued to do so Tuesday. So after the release of the records, they continue to lie. That Gillum's brother, Marcus Gillum, handed him the ticket the night of the show. He didn't want to know from Butkus. His brother just gave me the ticket. What's the big deal? That's not what happened. The text messages at the time of the trip show Gillum was told. He was told the tickets came from Mike Miller, an FBI agent looking into city corruption who was posing as a developer. Came from Mike Miller, posing as a developer who was an undercover FBI agent. Mike Miller and the crew have tickets for us for Hamilton tonight at 8 p.m., Corey texted Gillum on August 10, 2016. Hey, awesome news about Hamilton, Gillum replied, according to the records. The campaign has not said how Marcus Gillum, who lives in Chicago, Illinois, came by such a sought-after Broadway ticket, or whether Andrew Gillum asked his brother about it. These messages only confirm what we've said all along, Andrew Gillum said on Facebook Live. So, in the face of his lies, caught with actual hard evidence, Andrew Gillum says, see, they confirm what we said all along, because he knows there's enough stupid people out there who will just dismiss it. We did go to see Hamilton, he said. I did get my ticket to Hamilton from my brother, and at the time we believed that they were reserved by friends of Adams, Mike Miller. And when I got there after work, got my ticket, we went in there and saw it. Assumed my brother paid for it, and so as far as I know, that was the deal. Yeah, no big deal. Now, he knows that wasn't the deal. The new records came from Chris Kise, K-I-S-E, an attorney representing Corey. That's the lobbyist. Kise said he gave the records to the Florida Commission on Ethics, which is investigating a complaint about Gillum's trips to New York City and Costa Rica with Corey. He then gave copies to the campaigns of Gillum and DeSantis. Once a close friend of Gillum's, the lobbyist, Corey, is at the center of the FBI's long-running probe into corruption in Tallahassee. No one has been charged, and Gillum has said that agents assured him he was neither a target nor a focus of the probe. Well, if he's obviously part of the probe, can you imagine if Trump had done this? Those impeachment charges would be all drawn up by now. Gillum has repeatedly given vague answers to questions about who paid for the New York City trip. His avoidance of a direct answer became pronounced during a Sunday debate on CNN between DeSantis and Gillum. And by the way, Jake Tapper did nothing to follow up. Nothing. Did you pay for the Hamilton tickets? DeSantis asked. First of all, I'm a grown man, Gillum replied. My wife and I take vacations. We pay for our own vacation. No, you didn't. You're a grown man and you didn't pay for your own vacation. I don't take free trips from anybody. Yes, you did. You took a free trip from the FBI. I'm a hard-working person. I know that may not fit your description of what you think people like me do. Listen to the race card. But I've worked hard for everything that I've gotten in my life. Well, you didn't work hard for that hotel room, and you didn't work hard for those tickets, pal. We used to call that graft where I grew up. But notice, I don't take free trips from anybody. I'm a hard-working person. I know that may not fit your description of what you think people like me do. Sickening. The new records go beyond Broadway tickets. They show that undercover FBI agents posing as businessmen were working for months to get an out-of-state meeting with Gillum, and that Gillum appeared willing to oblige them. In June 2016, Corey, the lobbyist, texted Miller, the undercover FBI agent, telling him that he would discuss options with Gillum. I just want to make it a good trip, and Sweets and B will be booked on something else if we don't lock something down, Miller replied. Mike Sweets and Brian Butler were the two other undercover FBI agents posing as businessmen. The lobbyist, Corey, then followed up proposing to meet in Las Vegas. AG, Andrew Gillum, thinks Vegas in August is an easier option for him, Corey texted Miller. Referring to Gillum, he's double-checking availability with his office now. Stand by. So instead of Las Vegas, they met in New York while Gillum was attending a conference on behalf of the People for the American Way Foundation, a liberal advocacy group that employed him. That would be a left-wing group. Text messages show Miller, that is the undercover FBI agent, paid for the airfare and hotel room for Gillum's brother, Marcus. Send me the mayor and his brother's information and I will have my girl book their flights, Miller wrote. Corey, the lobbyist, replied that Gillum had already booked his flight, but he would send his brother's information ASAP. Just tell them to let me know what their flights cost and I will cover it, Miller said. The ethics complaint was filed against Gillum in June this year, and Gillum met with investigators in early September. Keyes, the attorney for Corey, the lobbyist, was issued a subpoena for records on October 15, last Monday, was releasing the records now because they were going to become public anyway. He said they showed Corey did not participate in any criminal activity. It's rare but not unprecedented for the commission to use its subpoena power as it did in the Gillum case. By law, ethics complaints are confidential until they are dismissed. A probable cause finding is made or the target of a complaint voluntarily waives confidentiality, which Gillum did not do. Now, the document dump on Tuesday was the type of event Democrats feared when Gillum won the party's nomination in August, but hoped would never come. Those supporters generally dismissed the significance of the texts and emails between Gillum and lobbyist Corey. One Democrat consultant acknowledged that anyone on the fence about Gillum could be deflated. The timing of the release, exactly 2 weeks before Election Day and on the second day of early voting, comes during a key period and goes on and on. But the Democrats don't have a problem with this. Hillary Clinton was in South Florida a couple days ago. She raised $2.5 million for Gillum. She could care less about any of this. The question is, will the people of Florida? You have a leftist, a hardcore radical leftist who is in fact a hack. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Well, I have a short period of time here. Boy, are these elections consequential, aren't they? I really don't believe we want to turn any element of the federal government, at least not right now, over to this force on the left to give them a foothold. I really don't. There's so many things we need to do in this country. If we can hold the House and pick up some senators, we may well be able to secure that southern border, and that is crucially important. Despite what the left says, they're irrelevant. They have no intention of doing any of it. I told you yesterday, and I meant it. I meant it. There are hostile governments that are rooting for the success of the Democrat Party in this election cycle. You can bet Cuba, Iran. You can bet China, Russia. You can bet North Korea. They want to see this president crippled. They want to see him bogged down in his own country by the House of Representatives while they exercise their muscle, while they build up their military, while they take more and more aggressive actions. The left in this country and our enemies overseas have something in common. You have to admit it. They want to see the destruction of Donald Trump, our commander-in-chief. And if he wasn't an outstanding commander-in-chief, they wouldn't give a damn. But they care very much because he's been an outstanding commander-in-chief. I want you to keep that in mind. We'll be right back.